What's up guys, it's Scoopman5000, back for another McFarlane DC Multiverse review, and today we're looking at the brand new McFarlane DC Multiverse Dark Knight's Metal Green Lantern Hal Jordan versus the Dawnbreaker. And so what we got here is a very exciting addition to the DC shelf. That is Hal Jordan, my favorite Green Lantern, and what is a repack of the Dawnbreaker figure that we got pretty early on in the DC Multiverse, just like we got the Devastator repacked with Superman. Here we're getting the Dawnbreaker. And as you can see, a nice big window box, and we do get the trading cards and all that, but even in the back you could see they kind of set a scene. There's a bit of a green background there. So the inside of the packaging, the presentation looks nice. But other than that, it is what we're used to with the DC Multiverse. If we go to the back here, you can see a studio shot of both characters. This is Dark Knight's Metal branded, and then I'll give you the barcode if you're on the hunt for this, but mine did ship from Amazon, and I think they're the first place to get it. So with that, we're going to go ahead, we're going to take these two out of the packaging, and let's take a look. And we'll start out with the Dawnbreaker, but before we do that, there are some pieces that I guess you could say come with both figures. So each of them are going to be included with the black figure stand, and then they also have trading cards. So as per usual, the new standard is product shots instead of comic book artwork, which I'm not a big fan of. I always like seeing the source material and then comparing it to the figure. Either way, now they're switching over to studio shots. On the back, of course, you're getting the bios, and then at the bottom of the box here, and they've done this for a lot of their 2-packs, especially the metal ones, and that is this big display base. But I didn't really like the Devastator pack, I didn't really like the Flash pack, those bases, but this one is incredible, and I think I'm going to be displaying it, because you have the Green Lantern constructs, and even pretty cool that you'll notice with the accessories as well as this base, the Hal Jordan effect, the constructs are much brighter, and the Dawnbreaker has a darker green, so it kind of transitions here. What you basically have here is Hal Jordan firing a rocket against what looks like a sea monster covered in chains that the Dawnbreaker has created. So very cool stuff. As for the Dawnbreaker, his only accessory is the same one we got with the original release, and that's this bat construct that is kind of hard for him to grip, but it is there if you want to use it. And I'm not going to go into that much detail with this guy because I did review him. He was one of my early DC Multiverse reviews. He was an early figure in the lineup, obviously. But if we go ahead, and we got to bring in the original off the bat, I think at least with the Devastator 2-pack, you could kind of tell the plastics look different. The Devastator from the 2-pack was brighter and had worse paint apps. But these two are nearly identical. The only thing I'm noticing that how I'm going to be able to tell, the torso, the green looks brighter than the original. But other than that, they look pretty identical. So if you like this figure, and if you like my review of it, you already know what I'm going to say about this guy. I don't really remember what I said in that review, but what I'm going to go over here and what I'm going to gush about is really the colors on this guy. I think he has some incredible paint, colors, and just choices of colors, if that makes any sense. And what you'd be thinking is, obviously, he's green and black. There isn't that much to do. But you got the bright logo here, and that's its own separate piece, so it looks extremely clean, with the bright neon green sticking out from the rest of the figure. And then I love this metallic that we got on his goggles. We get it on the chest armor here, on the gauntlets, and then on the entire boots on the bottom. I don't know if that's a paint or if that's a plastic, but either way, I'm a big fan of it. So you have that metallic green, and then underneath, the darker greens of these tubes kind of feeding into his helmet, and then the undersuit of the Green Lantern. And McFarlane does a really good job with these black undersuits, where they give him some really nice texture, and you'll see that especially on Hal Jordan. So he's a great figure. He looks great. Now I'm going to have one kind of standing on the shelf in the front, and I guess the other one could be in the back on the flight stand. But it's going to be nice to have one front and center as well. Do you need two Dawnbreakers? Probably not, but it's not the worst figure to have two of. We'll do a little refresh on his articulation. The head is going to rotate pretty much all the way. Look up that far, forward that much, and you are going to get some tilt. Torso has 2 ball joints. With that combined power, he goes back that far. Great for flight stands, and forward that much. The shoulders do have a pretty decent butterfly joint, at least going back. Doesn't move forward as much. Hinge on the shoulder and a swivel. Swivel at the bicep. Double jointed elbow, one of the better ones of the McFarlane lineup. And then the ball joint at the wrist. The legs split out to reveal the McFarlane construction down there. They kick back at about a 45-degree angle. Kick forward a little bit better. There is a little bit of swivel in the leg. I feel like I always neglect that. Double jointed knee goes almost all the way back. And then we're getting a ball joint at the foot and a toe hinge. And here's the Dawnbreaker with the 2 John Stewart figures we have so far from McFarlane, the Justice League animated and the Rebirth John Stewart with the minigun. And then here's my favorite Green Lantern figures. These are the NECA Green Lantern versus Predator figures. Now these are the same figure that came with swappable heads, so I bought two. You got John Stewart on the left and Hal Jordan on the right. And staying on that subject, here he is with the Sinestro Corps Yautja Predators. And now I want to see Dawnbreaker as a Yellow Lantern. It didn't happen in the books, but I would like to see it. But now it is time for the main event, one of the more exciting releases of McFarlane in recent memory, Hal Jordan Green Lantern. And he does come with two unique Green Lantern constructs that we've never seen before. So one is a jetpack, which seems kind of redundant. I mean, the dude can fly on the regular, so I don't know why he would need a jetpack. And then we do get a kind of energy fist effect, just some flaming fists that he could whack into the Dawnbreaker's face. It has a Green Lantern logo on it and everything. It's also worth noting that because they use the same body, you can use the same accessories from John Stewart on Hal Jordan and vice versa. So Hal Jordan can tote the minigun like he does in Injustice. So that's a pretty cool look. And then what we're left with here is the classic Green Lantern himself, Hal Jordan. Obviously not the first and not the last of the Green Lanterns, but he's definitely up there. He probably is my favorite. But I like most of the Green Lanterns. I like John Stewart a lot. Even Jessica Cruz I'm a big fan of. I'd love to see that as a McFarlane release. But I think if any figure deserved to be made, this guy was definitely first, or at least second, because I guess we got John. But as I alluded to, these guys are using the same body, but somehow they did it because they have different costumes and different looks. So I guess I didn't really know how this would come out, but they look different. They look extremely different, even though they are using the exact same. If you take off the head sculpt, everything else about these guys is the same. The gauntlets, the chest, the lower abs, and the boots and the legs, everything in between. But McFarlane pulled it off. They gave us the classic look for Hal Jordan, just a little color swap of this piece, the white gloves, and this is classic Hal Jordan. I keep saying that, but really just a tremendous job by McFarlane. The face sculpt, it does look kind of weird, I feel like, at some angles, but it goes along with the style of the other metal figures. And I think the more I look at it, the more I do like it, especially the hair. The logo here is painted. It's not separate pieces like we got with some of those earlier McFarlanes and with the Dawnbreaker, obviously. I will say the one thing that's sticking out at me about this figure is that because this is a rubbery piece for the middle of the torso, but the top of the torso is plastic, this is a matte green while this is much shinier. And even with that, this looks more bluish. Like there's definitely a difference in color, so that might bother some people. I'm also under pretty harsh lighting, so once you put them on a regular shelf, you probably won't notice it. But honestly, that's just me looking for something to point out that's wrong with them. Maybe the scuffs on the back here, but I don't even want to be upset about that because I'm very happy to finally have a Hal Jordan in the collection. For his articulation, the head is going to look up pretty far. Again, very good for flight poses, down that much, and some great tilting. The butterflies are there. The torso hinges and swivels. You got a bicep cut. Double jointed elbows, pretty good. And then the trigger hand is on a ball joint. Torso looks up that far. You are getting a little bit of a gappy situation here, but it's not the end of the world. It doesn't look that bad from the front. Legs are splitting out kind of disproportionately. For whatever reason, this one goes up further for me. Kick back is decent, although it is going to go sideways a bit. Forward all the way up again. Nice judo kick. Double jointed knee is nothing special. Then we're getting the ball joint at the foot and a small looking foot with a toe joint. And here's Hal Jordan with those two Dawnbreakers, and now I already forget which one's the original, but you could see he's about even in height with them. The scale isn't the best in this line. I think Dawnbreaker's really supposed to be tall and skinny, but in this he kind of fits more in with the rest of the figures. But to their credit, Dawnbreaker's design is pretty inconsistent in the little amount of books that he's in. And then here he is with the two John Stewarts again, and to go back to these two, really very distinct figures despite the similar, or I should say exact same, bodies. Here he is head-to-head with the NECA releases. Surprisingly, they look a bit small next to this guy. I think it's just the head sizes. But yeah, something about these NECA head sculpts and even the body shapes, they're just like the perfect superhero figures to me. They just look like they jumped out of 90s comic books. But that being said, I am a big fan of this new release as well. And then again, here he is with the Yellow Lantern Predators. I don't really have any other Yellow Lantern related figures for him to fight, but this will definitely do for now. I'll never pass up an opportunity to bring these two onto the review table. And then for Hal Jordan, I wanted to show him off with some Barry Allen figures. I always think of these two as a good team up, and I think take your pick. He works just as good with the Injustice 2 version than he does with the more classic looking Rebirth version. And then finally, for some Justice League OGs, here he is with Superman and Batman from Wave 1, and these look excellent together. And overall, that is going to do it for your look at the Green Lantern and Dawnbreaker two-pack. Obviously, the Dawnbreaker is more of the same, but he's a great figure. He's one of the stronger DC Multiverse releases to this date. And if you didn't have him, I think this is a good reason to get him. But either way, you have to get this set for Hal Jordan. Definitely a standout figure. He reuses a lot of that Green Lantern John Stewart, but I guess it makes sense. You know, they're all using the same technology. They're on the same team. But Hal Jordan, one of the essential DC Comics characters. You think DC Comics, you're thinking of Hal Jordan. At least that's what I think. So great to get another, you know, kind of founding original Justice Leaguer in the mix. Now we need Martian Manhunter, a nice Wonder Woman, maybe a Hawkgirl, and then we can have a nice setup with these lanterns to go along with. As always, I'm going to take some pictures. I'll leave them at the end of the video, as well as on my Instagram, scoopman_5000. But that is going to do it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next action figure review.